Hello everyone and welcome to the Pitskill.io Porsche Cup and BMW M2 Multiclass, and we are here for round 9 at Belgium, the Circuit de Spa Francorchamps, and qualifying is just getting underway with Matthew Parry being the first of our drivers to start his first flying lap of the session, taking it nice and easy through the lock-on section, down into the hairpin. Going to be a very interesting track for the two classes. You a very high-speed circuit, and with the low power of the BMW M2, it's going to be a stark difference in lap times. There's getting reports out of some of the drivers that they're thinking they're only going to get about 3 laps of qualifying for the BMWs, so will definitely be who can respond best to the pressure. But for now, we are with the Porsche Cups, who definitely have a few more laps in hand with their slightly reduced lap times. And Matthew Parry coming around now onto the third and final sector, flat out here all the way down to the bus stop chicane. And we get to hear that wonderful engine of the Porsche Cup cars. I believe it's a straight 6 engine in the back of these cars. Could be wrong, wouldn't be the first time. As Matthew Parry right out onto the exit curb, crosses the line with a 2:20.165 is the time to beat, as Balazs here and Luke Tranmer not quite able to beat that time just yet, as we've got a few other drivers coming around to finish their first laps. So John Sawyer now next to break the beam, 2.4 seconds off the pace, as our championship leader some 6 tenths off the pace. Do excuse me. There's Johan left with a 2:20.780. Still plenty of drivers out there without a time on the board. As we take the opportunity to check in with our series sponsor, Chris SimQuips Wright, who yet again with another change of livery. I'm not sure if he's actually brought the same livery to 2 consecutive races this entire season. It will be interesting to make sure we remember that one. As more and more drivers completing laps now. So I think Chris Wright may have had an invalid lap, or was an out lap last time around, because he has not got a time on the board just yet. As now Matthew Parry still on pole, or provisional pole I should say, on that 20.165, as Luke Tranmer has now invalidated that lap. Will not be improving this time around. Vibek sending it into the hairpin. He's plenty up on his previous best. Navigating his way around second sector into Pouon. Leaving a little bit of pace on the table there. More track that he could be making use of. We'll be squirreling that one away for future laps. Tranmer currently 1.9 seconds off the ultimate pace set by Parry so far. But finding plenty of time on this lap. All important corner exit coming up, as flat out from here down all the way to the chicane. Plenty of time to be gained through here. As we come into the braking zone for the chicane. Plenty of drivers jumping ahead of Vibet, but he's going to find a huge chunk of time as he crosses the line. Take P3 provisionally on the grid. There's a solid lap there from Robert Weidbeck. There's more and more drivers now setting their first few lap times. We've just got 1, 2, 3 drivers without a valid lap. Those are Broadhurst, Pollock and Cogs. There's Johan Leff. Oh, I think running wide, yep, and he has invalidated that. I think commentator's curse just kicking in there. As we started to watch Johan Leff, he runs it wide. We check in with Sam McCarthy. Driver who in previous seasons has found himself up at the sharp end of the grid in these Porsche Cup cars. He's doing a solid lap now. Just Francorchamps and the chicane to go. Sam McCarthy could be mixing it with the big boys tonight. Hard on the brakes, leaving a little bit of apex on both the corners of the chicane, but it's still quicker than he's done before as he breaks the beam just 5/10 off. The overall pace puts him good enough for P2. Showing what pace Matthew Parry does have over the rest of the field here tonight. No answers from the rest of the grid, it would seem. As who else is looking to improve? Ominously for everyone else, one driver looking to improve is Matthew Parry. Florent Demort crossing the line for their final lap, narrowly avoiding bumping into the back of the car ahead. It was a very close one there as he crossed the line. And, one of our favourite liveries here, being run by Bjorn King, is also finding a solid improvement on this lap. I think Matthew Parry is just pushing to see whether he can get into the 2-minute 19s, which will be super impressive in these Porsche Cup cars. Bjorn King hooks up first apex nicely, and the second one put to the floor, to the line, and it's a sizable improvement in time, if not in position. Quite the gap there between positions 12 and 9. Finding over a second sees Bjorn King going 9th. Check in with Matthew Parry. Has he got enough in hand as we come through Blanchimont? Into the chicane. If he can hook this up, will this be good enough for a 2? Oh, it was close. As I think I have lost my timings. That's unfortunate. That is weird. As we've got our Porsche Cup cars now coming around the final sector, and Sergi Sebastian running a fetching new livery, following on for the Mario Kart themed livery he was running in the VIP trophy. Now the Bowser oil and being followed closely through by Andy Hudson, hoping to get a little bit of a slipstream, I think, down the Kemmel Straight. as they both come into the source hairpin. Oh, that's not the driver I wanted. Nope. Okay, I can't be on board with Sergio Sebastian, it seems. That's very odd. As we come through the comb. Oh, and Sergio Sebastian missing the corner. And that's not going to do his that much good at all. As these BMWs so quiet, you can hear the tyre roar over the engines. We come through the end of the second sector. Sergio Sebastian being followed closely behind by Andy Hudson. We note Sergio Sebastian on an invalid lap at the moment, so our first representative time will be set by Andy Hudson just behind, who's going to take every little bit of advantage from the tow. As Sergio Sebastian, moving well out of the way there, did not want to give a tow to Andy Hudson. Tactical games here at Francorchamps. Will be Andy Hudson to cross the line first, and set will be our benchmark lap time. No surprises there. Andy Hudson going first in class with a 2:38.287. Are you good enough for pole position? As we have got Casper Johansson, our Pitskill.io head steward, out on track tonight. Good to see him representing the stewards along with Andy and Sergi. Quite a few of them out on track tonight. As apologies, my race control has gone funky, and I'm having to resort to keyboard shortcuts at the moment to switch between the cars. Fingers crossed I can get that resolved before our race session. As Riva Molnar, some 2.5 tenths off of Andy Hudson. There's Harold Kakelmeyer off on the grass. As Matthias Peltzer is back in his Formula Met livery tonight. This time it will be Sergio Sebastian who benefits from the slipstream from Andy Hudson up ahead. Let's see, who else have we got on the grid in the BMWs tonight? Robert Fish, the only Boomers car. And Callum Scotland. We have Riva Molnar running the 44 car. We've got Ignaz Lysium in P2 at the moment, just 0.3 of a second off of Andy Hudson. With Marco Lorenzo following not far behind. See who else we've got out on track. Harold Keckelmeyer. Down in P40, hasn't got a time on the board. Going to be the challenge actually for these BMW drivers. You're seeing there's about 11 of them out there on track at the moment without a time on the board. So this is going to be crucial for them to get a banker in this lap, because those who are currently on a lap, next one, going to be their final lap of the session. As Kevin Schiffer carrying a substantial amount of damage to the front of that car. Whatever time they do set is not going to be that competitive. There's Ryan Craig Douglas in the distinctive Tesco liveried BMW. As Andy Hudson has brought out the yellow flag. Don't know what has happened there. Unfortunately, with my race control not working. No idea, no way for me to go and find out what has happened there. Which means it now falls to Sergi Sebastian to see what he can do. As it seems like both of his previous laps invalidated. Will be just the one flying lap for Sergi Sebastian. The only other driver to have won in the BMWs other than Andy Hudson, I believe. Should probably have double checked that before I go spouting stats like that, but I believe that is the case. Sure, someone in chat will correct me if I'm wrong. Just one more real corner to go for Sergi Sebastian. And just hope he's kept it between the lines for this lap. Maybe will have left a little bit of pace on the table, just making sure that he keeps this lap safe. Needs a time on the board if he wants the chance of taking the win here. And there we go. Sergi Sebastian beating Andy Hudson's time by 0.6 of a second. Andy Hudson, who wasn't able to set another time. Matthias Peltzer going P4 with Robert Fish, right, P29 overall. Riva Monar crosses the line, stays P30. Can Ignaz jump up and improve? Nope, stays just behind Andy Hudson, P3 in class. There's a few drivers, Kyle Wilson being one of them, who needs to set a time here. Wilson gunning it to the line. Will we get a time on the board? Crosses the line, goes up to P32, puts him ahead of a substantial number of other cars. Harold Keckelmeyer not able to set a valid lap time in that session. Will start the race in P40. As Svoboda crosses the line, will this one be valid? Yes, valid and good enough for P30 overall. As Kevin Schiffer in the heavily damaged car going to cross the line, and he, despite the damage, is able to jump ahead of Ryan Craig Douglas. The could be academic, as Craig Douglas bring it around the final sector now. Should be able to finish this lap before the max wait time expires. Oh, going a little bit too deep into the chicane, overcooks it on the brakes. And as he crosses the line, it is enough to unseat Schiffer. So P36 for Ryan Craig Douglas, and no times for D'Souza, Johansson or Keckelmeyer. as our drivers line up on the grid. And we'll just quickly double check that I see if I can get back the telemetry. Everyone, keep your fingers crossed. As looks like we've got an interesting grid for tonight. Neither of our championship leaders are on pole position in their respective classes, with Matthew Parry starting ahead of Johan Leff and Sergi Sebastian starting ahead of Andy Hudson. I believe Andy Hudson does have his championship wrapped up, and I think the same might be true for Johan Leff as well. So maybe just a couple of victory races here for the pair of them. Aha, we have data back. Good. This isn't going to be such a chaotic mess as we may have feared. Ooh. Okay, now that everything looks like it's working, we just have some time to go through the starting order for tonight's race, as Spa-Francorchamps does give us a very long formation lap. So on pole position overall and in the Porsche Cup class, we have got Matthew Parry. In P2 is championship leader Johan Leff. P3, Sam McCarthy, who's returns to the front of the grid, just starting on the second row. And alongside him will be Luke Tranmer, who we have seen battling for the lead in the previous couple of rounds. Will be looking to get himself involved in the action, I'm sure. Robert Weidbeck starting P5, did well in qualifying to get himself there. And he'll be starting alongside John Sawyer. It's a very familiar top end of the grid, and also familiar to any of those you who have watched before will be Christian Fager, starts P7 alongside the train leader himself, Balazs Feher, the expert defender. In P9 is Bjorn King alongside Florent Demour. Chris Wright is starting in P10, our series sponsor, Mr. SimQuips himself, who will be starting alongside oh wait, no, I think Chris Wright and Bjorn King were the wrong way around. Sorry. So now we have and I do apologise if this pronunciation is incorrect, Wigerhopt, whoa, who very nearly dropped it on the formation lap. They'll be starting alongside Klinger. We have Linsky in P14 alongside Nitro. And I will speed this up because I realise we are getting towards the end of this formation lap. We have in 16 Gunderson alongside Martin. Flax is in P18, running that same livery as Balazs Feher. In P19 we have got Broadhurst. P20 is Cox with, sorry, Hollock I think is in P20 with Cogs in P21. Then at the start of our BMW field in P22 overall, P1 in class is Sergi Sebastian. Will be starting alongside Andy Hudson with Elysium in P3 in that class. Thijs Peltzer is in P26 with Latz in P27. In P28 is Marco Lorenzon alongside Robert Fish. P30 is Svoboda with Molinar in P31. Scotland the driver, not the country, is in P32, with Wilson in P33. Wadinger is in 34, with Lawrence starting in the pit lane without any wheels, apparently. That's an interesting choice. Brian Craig Douglas in P36 with Schiffer in P37. Vertusa is in P38 with Johansson in P39, and Harold Kackelmeyer rounding out our grid for tonight's race in P40. And as we come around the final few corners, we did get our grid walk done and dusted before this race gets underway. Completely professional broadcaster here. As they line up 2 by 2, ready to get this race underway, will be Matthew Parry, who will lead our group away. Johan Leff will take the outside line. Well, as you say, the outside line, I always forget that here in the GT field, we will not be starting the race until we get to, or get ourselves through the source hairpin. There's that long grid of cars, snakes its way down. As we will try and pay some attention to the start of the BMWs as well, but will be the Porsche Cups leading the way down the hill towards Eau Rouge and Raidillon as we await the green flag to get racing underway here at Spa-Francorchamps. And we are racing. And it's a good start from Matthew Parry, gets the whole track to himself as he cuts his way through Eau Rouge as they neatly file their way through behind. No yellow flags from what I can see so far. And we've got side-by-side action already as Robert Weidbeck looking up the inside of Luke Trammer as we come down into Le Combe, as Sam McCarthy already looking up the inside of Johan Leff. And looking like Sam McCarthy. Oh, a little bit of a bump there with Luke Trammer, sends Trammer out onto the gravel, and that is, what, 5-6 positions lost there for Trammer, who then comes under attack again from Bjorn King. Trammer will have the inside line. Will he try and hold on? Well, he won't now, as he has slipped himself into the wall and needs to take care to rejoin the track safely. Luke Trammer having a real nightmare of the start, though not a big as nightmare as Svoboda, who finds himself down in P40 and with a drive-through penalty to boot. So things really not going the way of Svoboda. As we'll take the opportunity to divert our attention to the BMW M2 class and Andy Hudson leading the way there. So what happened to the number 61 car? I think there may have been contact. I do apologise for what is about to happen as we try and find replay timings. Oh, okay, that worked. Oh, no, it didn't. Okay, that's good. Let's have a look and see. Oh. See if we can work out what happened to Sergi Sebastian at the start. It was coming up to Le Combe 3 wide after already having lost out positions. Oh, and Sergi Sebastian going around and into the wall, and that is now why he finds himself down in P39. Not a good race start for Sergi Sebastian. Out in front is still Matthew Parry leading the way ahead of Johan Leff, and they've got themselves a 2-second gap back to Sam McCarthy, who is at the front of a substantial train of cars. As we have got Sergi Sebastian, Robert Vibert, Christian Fager, Balazs Fahir, Bjorn King, John Sawyer, Florent Demore and Chris Wright, all within about half a second of each other, snaking their way through the end of the first sector. As we've got yellow flags aplenty in the BMW field. What on earth has happened here? As well, I think it would be remiss of us not to get a replay of whatever carnage has befallen the BMWs as they wind their way down through Eau Rouge. Too wide, very wide line taken there, and both running wide off onto the runoff area, and well, that was sloppy racing there from, well, to be fair, from the front too. And I think that was I don't reckon. I think that was Molinar, who was just unfortunate to get caught up in that one in the end. Very unfortunate. So, Matthew Parry still leading the way, but has got Johan left for very close company. On the run down into bus stop chicane. Neither driver wanting to use much of the entry curb. And Robert Vibert very close to the back of Sam McCarthy. Very close racing in that fight for P3. As it's looking like Sergi Sebastian recovering well after what can only be described as a nightmare start for him, harassing the back of Kasper Johansson. As they come down towards the bus stop chicane, Johansson going defensive, going deep, will have the inside line for the next part of the chicane, but no, went defensive, but alas, Sergi Sebastian through, up another position gained, and now Johansson's going to find himself under pressure again as Virtusa, driver unable to set a lap during qualifying, looking to fight his way back up. As we have a new driver to take the fastest lap of the race, Sam McCarthy. He's showing some good pace here. Now he's got himself in his comfort zone. And perhaps with the fighting going on between Parry and Leff, has been able to find his groove. Still some 3.5 seconds away from the fight over the lead of this race. But not to be discounted. Still plenty of time remaining in this race. As actually it looks like our first two drivers have yet to set a valid lap since the start of this race. As Balazs Fahir finds himself in an unfamiliar position in these Porsche Cup races, which is attacking for a position. Usually Fahir finding himself on the defence, and slight door-to-door contact there, a little bit of a four-wheel drift going on. But Balazs Fahir battling hard here over P5 in this race. They go side by side again into the La Source hairpin. Balazs Fahir with the outside line will try to carry the speed, bumps his way over that sausage curb. These cars can take it. Are they going to try and go side by side through Eau Rouge? Yes, they are. Oh, well, I was going to say it looks like Balazs Fahir going to take the advantage there, but did run very far off track. Would be cheeky to hold that position, as I don't think he's going to get the opportunity to do so either. And being swarmed from all sides is Balazs Fahir, with John Sawyer looking up the inside. Christian Fager already having swept around the outside. Finds himself a driver under attack. There's now Florent de Moor looking to go side by side with Bjorn King. Chris Wright also getting involved in this battle. There's a lot of action going on here between P5 and P10. Not much between them. There's Vega and Fahey get themselves a little bit of a gap, but John Sawyer is being hounded at the moment. Was Florent de Moor getting very close to the back of the car of King. All these drivers will be looking to get the best possible run they can out of Stavelot. That long run all the way through to the bus stop, flat out from here. And the slipstream, so powerful in these cars if you can get close enough behind the car in front. And Bjorn King's going to have a real opportunity through here. Both running wide. And as it stands, all in the same order. Christian Fager had a Blaž Fay here. John Sawyer, Bjorn King, Florent de Moor and Chris Wright continue their battle onto another lap. As Johan Leff is now closer than he's been for a while, onto the back of Matthew Parry as they head up over the top of Radion and onto the Kemmel Straight. Leff closing, closing, closing. Not close enough as they come through Lecombe. That Leff looking like he's a little bit more under control, a little bit more stable on the rear end. And we have seen this as a hallmark of Leff's driving. I'm not sure if he's just a bit easier on the tyres in these Porsche Cup cars, but does seem a little slower at the start of the race, but then really comes alive into the second half as the drivers in front of him just seem to eat through their tyres a little bit more. As well, the race really does seem to have settled down in the BMW field. I think we only see two cars within a second of each other, so it's going to be up to the Porsche Cups to provide the entertainment for us here tonight. And they are doing that very nicely as we continue to have this two-way battle for the lead. Matthew Parry leading Johan Leff. Who would have been in the championship fight if not for a few unlucky rounds earlier in the season, has definitely shown a considerable amount of pace, and we'll probably be hoping now for the new season in not too many months, and yeah, we'll be looking to set his stall for another championship attempt. But for now, just going to be grateful for the opportunity to battle for the lead in these final few races. As we can see in the background, Christian Fager and Blaž Fay still battling out over P5. With John Sawyer and Bjorn King not far behind at all. We've still got a few little pockets of action in the BMW M2 field. Casper Johansson managed to hold on ahead of Virtusa and Ilsium. Ilsium, who I think must have got caught up in an early race incident as well. Oh, actually, I think it was Ilsium who got caught up in that incident with Sergi Sebastian. And talking of Sergi Sebastian, he is now all over the back of Robert Fish. As Ilsium and Vertusa going side by side through Blanchimont. And Ilsium has got the position. And that battling has cost them a slight gap to Johansson ahead. As we've got a couple of Porsche Cup cars in the pits. Worth reminding you, this is intended to be a lights to flag sprint race, so those drivers can only be in the pit lane for one reason, and that will be damage, as Matthew Parry having to contend with the back marker traffic of the BMWs. This is the part of the race where things will start to get interesting, as we are approaching BMW field, and Johan Leff with a great opportunity here, side by side with Matthew Parry as we head down towards the resource hairpin. We've got a couple of cars who will be diving their way into the apex, and Johan Leff having to take a little bit of evasive action there as they sandwich the BMW. And I think they're going to catch Harold Kackelmeyer at the worst possible moment, diving side by side through Eau Rouge and up Radion. Matthew Parry completely cutting the inside of Radion, hands the place back to Johan Leff. Continues battle down as they come down to the Kemmel Straight. Matthew Parry will know that there is going to be plenty of opportunities to repass, as they have almost the entirety of the BMW M2 field up ahead, ready to get in the way of this battle. As side by side in the background go John Sawyer and Balazs Faye here. Bit of the up and under there for Balazs Faye here, and manages to switch back. Now we'll go inside of John Sawyer. Will maintain the inside line as they come down towards the hairpin. It's looking like Balazs Faye drifting his way through the majority of these corners. Has now got himself back up into P6 with a solid bit of battling there. With John Sawyer cutting his way through Harold Kackelmeyer, and was there contact there? That looked like it was awfully close between Kackelmeyer and King. I want to see that one again because it looked like the camera cut. Oh, that was close. That is a heart in a mouth moment if ever I saw one. As we've got three-way battle over P8 as Luke Tranmer cuts his way through. Bjorn King losing out there, but we'll have the opportunity to have a run as they're four wide. Well, okay, the slight tap from Luke Tranmer on the BMW caused Bjorn King to have to get out on the dirt. This is intense stuff here. They all run wide coming through Blanchimont, coming up into the chicane. Bjorn King thinks about having a look up the inside of Florent de Moor, thinks better of it, and Chris Wright catching onto the back of this battle. As up at the front, Johan Leff has been able to stretch his legs a little bit, now holds a 1 second gap over Matthew Parry, who has to run himself wide at the top of Radion to avoid one of the BMWs. That has cost him even more time over his competitor. As yellow flags for Chris Wright as he takes the scenic route through the top of Radion. As King and de Moor going side by side again into Lecombe. Side by side. King holding on to the outside line, will turn to the inside as Florent de Moor continues to carry the speed around the outside. Will probably be for nothing, although de Moor managing to get himself just ahead before the apex of the hairpin. Solidly done, was crucial there to maintain that track position, and now picking their way through the traffic. Bjorn King boxing himself in there, nowhere to go, had to back out of it. somehow managed to do so without losing himself too much time, as these BMWs are getting well and truly bullied by the Porsche Cups, picking their way through the traffic. As an update on the progress of Sergi Sebastian, now up into P25, P5 in class, and closing in on Marco Lorenzon and Matthias Peltzer. Could still be an in-class podium up for grabs here for Sergi Sebastian, with just over 11 minutes remaining in this race. We will keep you up to date with his progress as Christian Feger running wide off track again. Surprised we haven't seen any drive-through penalties coming out for any of these drivers. The number of times we've seen people flying off the circuit must just be keeping their pace under control as they return to the racing surface. But the battle continues between Feger and Fahit as we start another lap. As this battle continues, so does this one between John Sawyer and Luke Tranmer. Tranmer, who's looking to pick his way up forward through the field after some early race calamities and finding himself in contact with the wall at No Name Corner. Now up into P8 and bearing down on John Sawyer for P7, as John Sawyer getting a little bit unruly there with the rear end of his car, and Luke Tranmer, I think, smells an opportunity. And opportunity given, opportunity taken there. Luke Tranmer, or nearly holding it around the inside, as Balazs Fahit losing out massively to Christian Feger running off the circuit. As these pair pick their way through the back marker traffic. Tranmer trying his luck up the inside of Pouon, getting in the rear, sliding there through the corner, but Luke Tranmer nicely done up into P7 in this race. And we'll start to look to close down on Balazs Fahit, who's dropped 3.5 seconds this lap on Christian Feger with that minor incident. Just behind these, Florent Demore defending from King as they come through Stavelot. King right on the back of Demore. Is he within slipstream range on this run down towards the chicane? We've seen cars this close up behind before and haven't quite been able to make the move stick. As King looks to the inside, but Demore having to take the inside line. Already as Demore, in having to dart to the inside, gets himself under control, loses 2 positions there to both King and Wright. And Florent Demore there, and his over eagerness to get past the BMW has dropped right back now. There's Bjorn King coming through. Eau Rouge up through Radion, gets through past the BMW at the optimal time as Chris Wright picks his way through as well. And Luke Tranmer now finds himself on the back of Balazs Fahit, the driver who has been renowned throughout this season for his defensive mastery. Has now got a challenge of the BMW, the head at least of the BMW field. Couple more cars and he should see himself clear of this BMW back marker traffic. And Luke Tranmer is a man on a mission, has picked off drivers left, right and centre. Remains to be seen how he will fare with Balazs Fahit, who has to take a slightly off-track route there to get around the BMW. Sergio Sebastian has climbed his way up into P4 in class. And he's starting to close that gap down on Matthias Peltzer. And again, running slightly wide of the track limits. Luke Tranmer having a glance to the inside of Balazs Feher. It's Feher making similar mistakes to the one we saw from Florent de Moor there, dragging his car to the inside of the corner, under braking, unsettling the rear, and granting the position to Luke Tranmer, who now finds himself up into P6. As we've got more battling behind in the BMW class, battle over P13 between Jakob and Xavi, apologies. As we've got the lesser-known Stripey Rexy, it seems. Although, this one seems to be Rexy in mouth only. Not sure we can even really consider this one a Rexy. And, well, actually, no, the surprise thing is, I don't think we actually have any Rexys out on track at all tonight. With the absence of our original Rexy, Tadeusz Szynski. As this battle continues, we have the battle raging still over P6. Balazs Feher has not been dropped by Luke Tranmer as they pick their way through the traffic. Feher getting a slight advantage there with being the second car to pick their way through. Doesn't have to slow quite as much. As Luke Tranmer again running wide of the track limits. Feher, right closed up in behind, is able to take the wider sweeping racing line. Oh, as in getting their way past BMW class leader, there's heavy contact between King and Sawyer. Take a look at that one from the helicam. As John Sawyer waiting impatiently behind Andy Hudson. Well, we saw how this one ended, but that's how it started. As they were just both being held up there a little bit by Andy Hudson. As Andy Hudson moves out of the way of John Sawyer. I think Andy Hudson's just thinking he would like all of these Porsche Cups just to disappear right now and leave him alone as he leads this race by about 10 seconds. As descending down the hill again, our series sponsor Chris SimQuips right, being chased by Bjorn King. Both keeping themselves within the white lines, that time through Radeon. And Marco Lorenzo having been part... Oh, Bjorn King! Or is that deep under braking behind Chris Wright, keeps the wheel pointed straight. Locks up and heads straight on, somehow avoiding the back of Chris Wright. Solidly done. Sacrificed his own pace rather than hitting the rear of the car in front. It is good to see. Drivers evading responsibly. And side by side go Ilsium and Robert Fish. Through Lecon. Robert Fish maintaining position for now, but Ilsen, we saw in qualifying, has substantial pace. Up in front of this one driver I am mightily impressed with at the moment, Marco Lorenzo. Holding a similar pace to Sergio Sebastian, has been able to follow him around through the past couple of laps, has not dropped more than a second back, and is looking to reap good rewards from this as they both close up on the back of Matthias Peltzer in the closing stages of this race. Sergi Sebastian almost pushing the one of the back-marking Porsche Cups through the corners. Not the sort of display you'd expect to see between these two classes. A huge gulf in performance between them. But Sergi Sebastian showing why he was on pole position for this race. As, well, that's the Porsche Cup clearing itself out of the way. As Sergi Sebastian makes light work of Matthias Peltzer, and Marco Lorenzon will be looking to follow him through, well in the slipstream of Peltzer. As they come down towards the bus stop chicane, Marco Lorenzon not quite close enough to go for a move at this point, but showing very good pace at this stage in the race as they come now onto what will be the final lap of this race. But Sergi Sebastian has recovered himself up into the final podium position, and well, I think he's got to be very happy with that after the early race incident. Obviously does have to be caveated with the fact that he had that incident, because I suspect not especially happy with the race stars. As the Porsche Cup looking to pick its way back through. We will return our attention back to the front of our field as Johan Leff, who took the race lead at the midway point of this race and has not looked back since. Just got 2 corners remaining before he sees the checkered flag, and will take the win here at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Our penultimate round of the series. The win goes to Johan Leff, who finishes 4 seconds up the road from P2 Matthew Parry. And rounding out the podium will be Sam McCarthy, followed shortly behind by Robert Weibeck, Christian Fager, Luke Tranmer, and yellow flags out for Balazs Feher. What has happened for Balazs? A little bit of an over early donuts perhaps, but gets himself pointing the right way and does not lose position to Chris Wright, who finishes just some 5 seconds back, and John Sawyer takes P9. P10 goes to Bjorn King. As we turn our attention now to the race leader in the BMW M2 class, and we've said it many times this season, this is going to be Andy Hudson with a couple of corners remaining before he sees the checkered flag. Take the win in the BMW M2 TCX class. Andy Hudson with the win. Followed home by Latz in P2. And in the end, only 1 second behind, a great recovery drive from Sergi Sebastian. Take P3 and take the bottom step of the podium. P4, Matthias Peltzer, with Marco Lorenzon finishing in P5. P6 in class will go to Robert Fish, with Ilsium taking P7. P8 goes to the pizza liveried car of Adam Vertusa. P9 goes to Pitskill.io head steward Casper Johansson. And rounding out the top 10 in the BMW class, Callum Scotland. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Another big congratulations to our podium sitters for both classes, those being Johan Leff, Matthew Parry and Sam McCarthy in the Porsche Cups, and in the BMW M2s, Andy Hudson, Lat and Sergey Sebastian. And do remember, please, if you have enjoyed this broadcast and commentary, please do remember to like and subscribe. And if you want to get involved in any of our racing here at pitskill.io, please do use the referral link down in the video description below. And there at pitskill.io, you will find the links to the YouTube and Twitch channels of this illustrious racing community. And on Wednesday, you can watch the VIP trophy here at Spa-Francorchamps, where the GT3 cars will be taking to the circuit, hosted by our very own Terry Farish. And next week, we will be returning to Italy, I believe, when the Porsche Cup and Pitskill.io will go to our final round of the season, and we will be going to Monza. No, sorry, we'll be going to Imola. We've already been to Monza. My mistake. We'll be going to Imola. I was right about Italy, though. And, well, while I'm doing the very worst of a job at commentating, let's go and see our drivers doing the very best of jobs in the highlights from tonight's race. Thank you very much for watching. I've been your host, Roy Waller, and good night.